What's up, shifters? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Shifting Lanes Garage. My name is Gregson, and today we are going to talk about something very near and dear to my heart, which is Volvos. Of course we are, because I own multiple of them, and there's a reason why I do. Now, that's what we're going to talk about today, is I believe everyone should own a Volvo at least once in their life. So let's hop in, going to take a ride, and I'll tell you exactly why, and I'll tell you some other reasons why everyone should as well. So if you're new around here, thank you so much for tuning in, and if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a like at the end if you did enjoy it. And if you're already watching our videos and you're not subscribed yet, just hit the subscribe button. Why the hell not? You're already coming back anyway. So let's get to the topic du jour of today. It is Volvos. Quite frankly, I really believe in Volvos a lot. I liked them a lot growing up, but I like them even more now, especially because I have a family. That's actually going to lead me into my first point, is I think everyone should own a Volvo at some point in their life because of the safety of them. I'm going to drop a little B-roll here of what they do to their cars at their wrecking facility where they actually do test these cars, and it's pretty ridiculous looking. So as you're watching this roll through, just keep in mind that this is what they do for literally all of their cars, and they're just a safe company. They've always been known for their safety prowess. I guess the biggest thing of that sort of area is that they invented the seatbelt. And if you didn't know that, Volvo literally invented the seatbelt. What they did is, like a lot of companies do these days, especially a really famous one is Tesla, sort of not sharing their supercharging capabilities and everyone having like a different differentiation of supercharging or whatever for EVs. That's not a safety thing, but it's just something, an example. It's just an example of gatekeeping that keeps happening. Volvo didn't gatekeep that technology. They literally invented it and shared it with everyone so that everyone could be safer. That is an insane level of humanity, honestly, from a car company. It really kind of rings true with me because I have a family now. Like I said, the whole reason I sold my old Aston Martin V8 Vantage, which is now owned again by Tavares, is because I needed a big SUV for my expanding family, and I got a Volvo XC90. It's been an amazing car. It's one of the safest SUVs you can buy. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of other safe cars and SUVs out there, but overall, Volvo, just to me, is they crash test them the way that it would actually happen in real life. You know, if there's rollovers and stuff like that, you know, Volvo has pretty crazy crash testing. So the number one reason to own a Volvo, I think, is the safety. So the second reason that you all should really own a Volvo is they're sneaky quick. The performance on Volvos are actually, it's one of those things where you kind of have to like experience it to know it. If you didn't know, Volvo went racing in the early 90s, and actually they were racing way before that, but the most famous one was back in the 90s when they took their 850 wagon and went touring car racing in Britain and all over Europe. It was basically British touring cars. What they did is they never won any races with the 850, but you know what? They were very competitive with it, and it's cool. And right now, FCP Euro actually is doing a tribute build on them, so you really should go check out that series because it's pretty sick, I gotta be honest. They're just sneaky quick, and my car sort of proves that. It's a Volvo V60 Polestar. Obviously, if you follow the channel, and if you know anything about the channel, they have had performance versions of their cars throughout the years. 850R, 850R wagon, V70R, the Polestars before Polestar became an EV brand. So there is sneaky performance in Volvo, and some people get those things tuned up to horsepower levels that you wouldn't think a Volvo can have. The 240 platform is an amazing platform for swaps, including white block swaps within the Volvo community, red blocks themselves, the engines that usually came with the 240s. They were crazy tunable, and they're extremely strong, and you can swap LSs into the 240s. So when you see a Volvo roll up to the meet and it's got some big sticky tires on it, you probably should know that it's going to beat some people and break some hearts. So yeah, number two reason is Volvos are just under the radar fast. Speaking of, here she is in all of her glory with little tiny human handprints on it. I was just running some errands, but she's looking good. And she is insanely dirty. So we're gonna get this thing washed up another time. But just so that you know, this was Volvo's really last super fast wagon. There is a new Polestar wagon, but it's a little heavier, it's a hybrid, and it just doesn't have the same, presence that this thing does, because this thing, it's a 6-cylinder, and man, does it sound amazing. You're looking at the last real performance Volvo until Polestar, the brand now, kind of puts out really fast sports car EVs. All right, next reason why you all should own a Volvo throughout your lives. This one's a bit controversial because most people will not say this about modern Volvos, but longevity. And most people say, or at least most people in the community say, oh, the old Volvos will last forever. I mean, they do, but they do take a considerable amount of upkeep because old cars and what have you. The 240s really sort of brought Volvo into this realm because they just don't die. They just don't. That red block engine, all of the longevity that thing comes with, they just don't die at all. People say modern Volvos are not reliable, they don't have good longevity or durability. I own 2 modern Volvos and they have been dead reliable for me. My XC90 has had 2 things go wrong with it over the course of 4 years of ownership. A bad O2 sensor and a bad steering angle sensor. That is it. Granted, those are expensive components, outside of normal maintenance, that's it. And those things can go wrong on any car. So it's not like I'm shelling out, thousands upon thousands of dollars for this unreliable car. This car I've had for now 2.5 years, and it has literally had 0 problems. I replaced an O2 sensor on this car because I upgraded it with a downpipe to make it sound better. In that process, the O2 sensor went bad. Other than that, if I didn't mod this thing, it would be totally fine. But the longevity of these cars is one of the reasons to buy them. They do last a while. And this platform, the platform that I drive in my car, the V60 Polestar, this one, the 2016, it's part of what's called the P3 platform. And the P3 platform, I believe, will go down as one of Volvo's most reliable. Just from my own experience and just from what everyone else is telling me, from what I hear from people. Old 240s, old 850s, old V70s, the P80 generation in the late 90s and early 2000s. And even some of the P2 generations that, they're getting up around 100, 150, 200,000 miles, and people still run them all the time. I really think that Volvo has a really good longevity factor across a lot of what they make. Whereas you see a lot of competitors like Mercedes and Audi and BMW, those cars really start to show their age as far as mechanical bits, sometimes even as soon as 50,000 miles, 60,000 miles, whereas a lot of the Volvos, they just keep trucking 100, 150, 200,000 miles. And sure, there are some other German competitors with lots and lots of versions that have lots and lots of miles on it. Overall, I think Volvo kind of beats them. So longevity is yet another reason to own a Volvo. The next thing is that prices for specific Volvos are going bananas right now. It sort of holds true with what the rest of the industry is kind of going through. Anything rare or anything ugly, people love, especially sort of the old stuff. Now, most of Volvo's designs are not ugly as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people might think the old sort of boxy design of the 240s and the 850s and 900 series and 700 series, they don't really like because it's too boxy for them. There's not a lot of curves, whatever. It's all subjective because people like what they like as far as looks are concerned, right? I really like the old boxy design. I think it's very cool. Because of the nostalgia that old Volvos bring, a lot of them are going for insane prices. My old Volvo V70R, I sold that car for I think around $18,000. Good examples of that are going on Bring a Trailer and some of these other auction websites for like $25,000, $30,000, $35,000. There was a Volvo 240 that went for between $35,000 and $45,000 on Bring a Trailer. Now, Bring a Trailer is a site where you get insane bidders and everything like that, and there's insane money on there. However, people pay the money for these cars. I think that the prices are another reason to own Volvos now, not later. I think a lot of them are going to go up over time, especially the rare stuff. The 850Rs, I think, are the next one that's going to pop. After that, the P80 generation V70Rs in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think those are going to pop. And then in about 10, maybe 15 years, this is going to pop, these Polestars. These, especially the 6-cylinders, there was only a couple hundred of them, 210, 220, that ever made it to the United States. So this is one of about 220, 225, 215, whatever. Let's say 215 ever to exist in the United States. That is exceptionally rare. And they made other versions of this car, right? There's a 4-cylinder version, but they made considerably more of those. Still rare for the US. I believe there was about 1,500 made in total from 2017 to 2018. From 2015 to 2016, with a 6-cylinder engine, with a turbo, no twin charged, couple hundred. It sounds a whole lot better than the 4-cylinders. And I'm sorry, 4-cylinder owners, if you're watching this, it's just facts. The 6-cylinder sounds so much better. I've heard them both, even with an exhaust. The 6-cylinder is chef's kiss. It really is. Over time, this car will appreciate considerably in value. And I bought this car for $35,000 2.5 years ago. I could sell it for $35,000 today if I wanted to, which is pretty nuts to think about. Owning a car for 2.5 years and being able to sell it for what you paid for it, that's pretty good. And I use this as my daily. If you want to get in on an old Volvo, a cool Volvo, a rare Volvo, or even a Volvo you think is kind of ugly that you might want to stash away for a potential collector's purpose, get in now. If you don't, you're going to regret it. Mark my word. Okay, we've got back home. That leads me to the real reason I'm kind of making this video. If you remember, and the OGs will remember, a couple of years back, I made this video right here, and it was like, you know, little sensor, big deal, and it was about the Volvo community. It basically was the whole reason that I started to really love Volvos even more than almost any other car manufacturer. It's the community. My buddy Zach, he sent me some parts basically just because. Yeah, I needed them, and he had a V70R before me. He didn't have it anymore, and he was like, hey, you could probably use these more than I could. I'm sure it happens in other communities, but I'd never heard of something like that ever happening before in the automotive space, at least to me. And that sort of solidified the Volvo community as being the #1 community. Now, that video was from 2018 now, maybe even 2017. I have to look at the date. So 5 or 6 years ago. So I wanted to make an update to that video and be like, well, do I still feel the same way? And quite frankly, I do. The Volvo community is still, by a considerable margin, the best automotive community I've ever been a part of. And we say it all the time. You know, we live stream here on this channel, on our Facebook page. We're now on Twitch. And when Chad and I always are on the stream and talking about, you know, manufacturers, we always mention Volvo as the one that we truly love because of the community. You know, Chad didn't have the best experience with the C30. It was very, you know, it was a struggle, you know, doing actual work on that car himself and modifying it himself and what have you. But it was a cool car to own because of the community. And I made the video saying this is why I will always own a Volvo, and it holds true today. As long as I live, I will always own a Volvo in my garage, whether it be in this garage or as a second or third car or whatever. I guarantee it because of the community. The support that you guys have given me with the struggles with my 240 build, and I have an update coming for that at the end of this video, so please stay tuned for a couple minutes when I talk about that. The struggles with that car, the building of my V70R, the new fans that we've gotten and viewers we've gotten through this, meeting you guys, just the camaraderie with everyone. It is the biggest reason to own a Volvo. And if you own a Volvo and you're watching this video, please get involved in the community, whether it be just for your car, whether it be something bigger like Volvo Cars of the USA or Volvo Cars of America or Volvo Worldwide or whatever. Just get involved. Join a group, chat with people. It is considerably better than every other community I've been a part of. I've been in at least 2 or 3 dozen at this point. That's a lot over the years. You know, I'm 38, I'm gonna be 39 in 2 months. Actually, next month. Wow, it's June and my birthday's in July. Yikes. I will be 39 next month. I'll be 40 next year. And I've been driving for, oh man, math. I can't do math. It'll be 22, 23 years at that point with a license. It's a long time to be driving. And I've driven a lot of cars through shifting lanes and owning and what have you. Overall, Volvo, I mean, it really is the best community. I implore you, if you own a Volvo or if you want to buy a Volvo, get involved in the community. Even if you don't have a Volvo, get involved in the community with the car that you do have. It's just cool to talk to these people and make new friends, and I don't know, I love it. Maybe because I'm a car enthusiast, but it's just really fun to do. The community, to me, is the single top reason to get involved with Volvo as a car community. Do it, get involved, join a group, and I think you're gonna really love it. With that said, quick update on the 240. We do have a quote from Jesse over at Wildman Sweetcraft, and it's a lot. The amount of work that has to be done on that car is not insignificant. The quote came back, and this is very rough, so please don't go off to Jesse or Wildman Sweetcraft and say, "Oh man, you're quoting out your ass and you don't know what you're talking about." It was $6,900 for the rest of that thing. Now, remember, in the last video I told you I was scammed basically with the 240 in general by the old builder Nick. Unfortunately, he is gone and no one can find him. Either way, I was scammed out of money. I gave Nick a certain amount of money to give me a finished car. I don't have a finished car. I basically have a shell with an engine, a transmission, a bunch of parts, an interior, and some wheels, some brakes, and what have you. The amount of money I need to put out to finish that car sort of doesn't make sense to me anymore. There's a real good chance that I might need to part that out. And if I do part that out, what am I going to do with that money? Well, I'm not sure yet. If you guys have any ideas, leave it in the comments below. So what I should do, because I would imagine that car as it sits as a complete thing, it's probably close to $5,000 or $6,000. Parting out, probably around the same, maybe between $4,500 and $5,000, just because of like what I have. I have a full IPD suspension kit on the car that has literally never been used. It's been installed and it's just sat there. No rust, no nothing, it's just sat there. I have a full R swap kit, brake kit on that thing that should be sold. The calipers on that alone are, $250 a pop, and they're in good shape. There are some things we can reuse if I get a different car, maybe the wheels and tires I can reuse and put them on a different car, whether that be another 240, an 850, a P80 V70, whatever. Depends on what we get. If we can end up getting and recouping enough money for it. I'm sort of not sure what to do still, but I'm leaning towards parting it out at this point, just because it's been 4 years and I'm sort of over it, quite frankly. If you guys have any ideas of what you want to see on the channel, if we can recoup about that much money, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Would really love to see another car come to the channel that I can actually make content with. Let me know what your thoughts are, and yeah, I'm interested to see what you say. One last thing about that quote, it was insanely rough. It could be less money, it could be more money. It was more of just like, here's what's kind of needed and here's what I'm estimating, and that's why it's called an estimate. Don't go to Jesse and be like, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. You don't know the quote, you don't know the specifics of it. It could be more, it could be less, but even so, if it was that much, it could end up being like $10,000 to $12,000 if he really starts to dig into it. It could be less too, but either way, it's still a considerable amount of money that I wasn't planning on spending. With that said, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please, again, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button. That tells everyone on YouTube that you and other people want to watch this video more, or just our stuff more. Share it everywhere you can. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Again, if you're not subscribed and you're coming back and watching these videos anyway, why the hell are you not subscribed? You're just doing it, and it just gives you another reason to watch these videos. So thank you so much. If you want, you can follow me at RealGregsonM on Instagram, and you can follow at Shifting Lanes pretty much anywhere else. Facebook, Instagram, we're on TikTok now. We live stream here every single Monday here on Twitch and on Facebook. So thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. See you later.